All right, folks, we're looking at a 4/22/2023 date Saturday session. We're going to run it up here today, and we got a quick update for you guys. We're going to get right on into it. Crypto did bounce. Bitcoin did bounce back up. We were waiting for this one, and we did call this market move perfectly, this pullback that we saw here to 27,000, watching it closely. And I just had my Saturday morning session with my Discord group where I talked about the setup that I'm watching and the next trade that I'm about to make. You guys know I don't make trades often. I'm not a day trader. I'm not any sort of sophisticated trader by any measure or standard. I kind of just have fun. But we've had significant success actually trading this market over the last year. And so I told the Discord group how I'm watching this setup. I'll give you guys a little glimpse at that right now with the charts here. You guys see what we're looking at here, Bitcoin on the daily chart. Okay, Bitcoin on the daily chart, and you can see this March buildup when the banking crisis started. We ran on up here to 31,000. We had a little bit of fun. The Bitcoin bros were popping bottles and renting girlfriends again. And then we crashed back down here to 27,000. Right on that solar eclipse, as we warned about back-to-back eclipses. Those are the two vertical lines that you guys see right there. We're going back-to-back. You guys know the soundtrack. And this is the pullback that we're waiting for. Now, I told my Discord this morning, hey guys, I'm watching for the bounce, and then I'm going to look to enter into my next position here. And so we're going to be breaking that down. If you guys are looking to get access, that's all over at my website, zachrector.com. Okay, but let's get right on into the update. So my mentor, Dan Pena, said that trillionaires were going to be made in Russia. And it was another thing that the old man's saying as he's falling off his rocker here. He's got to be pushing almost 80 now. My mentor, Dan Pena. But I'll be damned if this old man hasn't been right about so many damn things since I started listening to him. And we don't call him the $1 trillion man for no reason. He's built so much wealth with what he's built in his own companies and then with his mentees, devotees, and disciples, whatever you want to call them. The following here of Dan has built so much wealth. It is part of some of the biggest deals, including Neom out there over there in the Middle East. Neom, the $1 trillion deal, just that deal alone is over $1 trillion. And that's one of his mentees is involved in that deal. But I laughed at him as he said, that trillionaires were going to be made in Russia. And now we're starting to see it, folks. So we get this. We're going to start it off here with this article here. jpost.com. Russian billionaires see wealth rise to over $500 billion. So they didn't quite hit the $1 trillion mark yet, but they're on their way. Now, many people probably thought that I was clickbaiting them with some XRP to 50K trillionaires will be made title. That's not what tonight's title is about here. We're looking at the Russian billionaires see wealth rise $152 billion to over $500 billion after the West imposed what it casts as the most severe sanctions in modern history on the Russian economy. Complete failure. They're rolling around in the super yachts laughing at us going woke, and the program's a complete failure. As I covered this morning, BRICS plus dozens of countries, including Bangladesh, paying their nuclear plant loan to Russia in the Chinese yuan in the latest example of the US dollar failing. Another case. We roll on over to what's happening here in the United States. Mario Nafal posts this comment. One thing I hate about the banking system is how they turn people into numbers. Here's a number. Every time unemployment goes up 1%. Every time unemployment goes up 1%, 37,000 Americans die. Want more numbers? 4,000 people go to mental hospitals, 3,300 people go to prisons, and there's 650 homicides and almost 1,000 suicides. For every 1%, the unemployment rate goes up. Now, I would just suggest, similar to what they did with the CPI lie, let's just recalculate how we do unemployment. Oh, wait, they already have, and it's already completely skewed. But maybe, I'm cracking in jokes, and this is not a joking matter in any sort of sense. But I try to lighten the mood a little bit because this is real. They lie to us. They manipulate the CPI lie data on the inflation. They're manipulating how they track unemployment, right? If you're not looking for work, then you're not included in the unemployment data. And the bottom line is that nobody's producing, nobody's building anymore, right? And I'm generalizing, okay? There's still people like us in this community that are just hammering down, doubling up, tripling up the investments, the businesses that we're building, continuing. I'm going to be starting my garden today, planting seeds on a daily basis. We're just going to keep it moving. But for the average American that wasn't prepared for this financial tsunami that was coming, that we'd been warning about here, that we'd been preparing for, you're going to see them get wiped out. And it's not a joke. It's not a game. It's not memes. It's 37,000 Americans lose their lives for every 1% that unemployment goes up. So as you guys are seeing, though, they're reporting the great, fantastic unemployment data, and that's because it's manipulation. It's just manipulation. How they calculate it is continuing to change. They got to keep the lie going. Unemployment is currently at 3.5%. That's a lie. Just like CPI at 5%. Lie. But the economy is looking very, very shaky, dangerously shaky. That's where the focus should be. And so in regards to the last article about Bangladesh skirting sanctions and Russia accepting the Chinese yuan, there's 2 points to be made. It's the fact that Russia is willing to accept the Chinese yuan, right? But then it's the fact that even if the US dollar doesn't lose the number one status for reserve currencies, if we still maintain the number one, the average American's about to feel the pain. The average American's about to get left behind, especially if they're watching mainstream news, especially if they're not tapped in and smashing the thumbs up on all these videos, all this content here that we're putting out on a daily basis, trying to get people to get aboard the train. Rosie Rios leading the way. You know, we got a little gold, we got a little XRP and other utility, and we're seeing them lie with this unemployment data, with the CPI lie and tell us that the sanctions are effective. They're not. They're failing, right? And it's only accelerating further. For the average American, to afford a $500,000 home in the United States, a person would need to make $140,000 a year per Market Watch. Real median household income in the U.S. was $70,784 as of 2021. And so that's two people working to create $70,000 in income, and they only can buy a house that's worth $250,000, right? If they're only making 70 grand a year and you need 140 grand a year to acquire a $500,000 home, which doesn't even get you a cookie cutter piece of crap in my neighborhood, doesn't get you nothing, a little shack in my neighborhood. What are you going to do here, folks? What did we talk about with the recession to-do list? From the very beginning, well over a year ago, we said we got to get our income up. Because even if you're not going to be buying the $500,000 house just to feed the family, the inflation's not going away. You guys know that. The Fed's admitting that they finally have broke the system. But the only way that they can continue to fight inflation is to widen the cracks in the system, to keep breaking it further, to pour more gasoline on the fire. That's the only way to fight inflation. It's either hyperinflation or you rug pull, kill the economy, and raise rates. They've raised rates, rug pull, killed us. Main Street turning the key on the business. This is a sad situation. And then the average household cannot afford the median, not even close to affording the median. No, which 500 grand's not the median. I know it's much less than that. But just to reiterate the point, right? Some of you guys are in some of these jacked up markets like I am, where it's just absurd. I look at my friends to the north in Canada, and it's a reality that makes no sense. None. $1 million, $2 million teardowns in town across the border. Like, what's going on with my Canadian brothers and sisters up there? By the way, we're sending out prayers to our Canadian friends and family, especially in the Discord community, that we're trying to get across the border with their pure blood into the United States for the XRP Vegas conference. We are praying for them. And I'm praying for my Canadians up there because your real estate market is upside down. It's crazy. And so where we talked about with the real estate, you're going to see some people are taking drastic hits, 20, 30, 40% plus in some markets. WeWork's building in San Francisco has already lost 67% of its value. It was another one of the iBuyers this week that announced a 25% layoff. And so the programs are failing. And I was talking this morning with my group, and I'm going to highlight the point here again in a second, is that this is our opportunity to move in with our equity, right? With the private equity group that we're creating in our Discord, we're going to be able to move in on all these deals. I'm about to show you an article here. We get the scoop from Charles Gasparino. Private equity crack up looming amid higher interest rates and escalating losses. And so this is Blackstone, Apollo, and some of the biggest Carlyle hedge funds, private equity groups here, taking major losses. And so in this article, they highlight how it started, right, with the crypto bros getting sacrificed. Everybody laughed. Everybody made fun of the crypto bros, right? And then it moved to the regional banks. And then you're seeing now the largest private equity funds, over $12 trillion worth of assets, right? And Blackstone has been one of the firms that's actually paused the withdrawals, people being able to take their money out. So how's that program working out, right? With the private equity, with the iBuyers laying off 25% of their staff, it gives an opportunity for the smaller investor like you and me, for ma and pa operations, for us to get together in our, like in our Discord community. We're talking about how we have our private equity group right there, and we're going to move in, and we're actually going to make real change too once we get this wealth that we're building right now, and then we continue to multiply it. We're going to have real change, not woke BS funny change, no fluff, real utility, real value that the world needs. And that's what I'm excited to do with my community. Okay. But you're seeing the biggest boys and girls in the space taking a massive loss. And we're seeing things that we haven't seen in the charts, things that we haven't seen in the data for decades, since the last great financial crisis, since the Great Depression. And we're seeing something that we've never seen before. And this is a discrepancy. There is now a record crazy spread of 164 basis points between the 1-month yield and the 2-month yield, a sign that some people are panicking and piling into whatever they can for near-term safety. So they're piling into 1-month T-bills, not the longer ones, not the 2-month, not the 10-year, right? All these different options for your treasuries. They're coming into 1 month because they're worried that we're about to hit the debt default limit, as we're now seeing JP Morgan and others warn that we're going to be approaching the debt limit sooner than expected. Now it's going to be potentially in May, where we're going to be running out of cash. Another catalyst to that was that you guys aren't paying your taxes, and we have not we received way less in taxes than we expected. So that's another part that's leading to this, the government going bust sooner, and the fear. Right. And this was something that was so far out there a decade ago when I first started learning about the Federal Reserve, fiat money, and how this system worked. And we thought that we were going to go bust 10 years ago. Right now we're here 10 years later into this timeline, and you're finally starting to see it. Mainstream news, you're seeing things on the charts that we haven't seen ever, a record spread here between the 1-month and the 2-month yield. And that's because people are worried that the United States is about to default. Everybody's worried that the United States is going to be able to pay their bills. And almost 25% of what we're receiving in revenue for our government is going to have to be paid out in interest. Not even on the principal on the debt, right? Just on the interest. And so we are on an unsustainable path. And as I reminded my Discord group this morning, it's an inevitable event. We don't have to worry about the timeline. We don't have to do the riddle or the decode or the moon date to know that it's inevitable. It's going to happen. So prepare and adjust accordingly. Now, for me, it's been precious metals, right? For a hedge against the dollar, I moved to silver. And you can too by getting in touch with our partners and affiliates down below at my website, okay? And we can ship the metals directly to you, or we can roll it over from your 401k retirement account. But this has been my hedge. I'm not here to give you financial advice, but this has been my hedge. And I don't really plan on going back into USD or any fiat currency. Once my US dollar gets converted into this, it ain't coming back. And you ain't getting this for, well, this is a 10 ouncer. So the spot price is silver $250. You can't buy this for $250 right now. Right? You're probably paying $300 for this 10 ouncer. And I ain't selling it for $300 US dollars. So that's the other problem. And then you're seeing the vaults get drained and the premiums are going up. And so that's why we say start the process if you're looking to get your precious metals. But that's been my hedge, or one of them, against the US dollar, is moving into silver. Okay. So we're starting to see, while the United States seemingly is getting left behind, and like I said, I don't think that we're going to lose our reserve currency status. I think that we have something up our sleeve. I think that Rosie Rios has the gold, or we are taking some gold, or we got some XRP. We got something up our sleeve there that I think will, still keep us in the number one spot. But we're going to lose market share as far as the reserve currencies go, and we are going to see businesses, as they've already done, they are fleeing our country and they're choosing to build in other countries, and it's because of things like this right here. The UAE proposes a bill to create a decentralized economy for its free zone with 100% tax exemptions. No taxes at all in this UAE proposes bill here for a decentralized economy. And it's a free zone that's going to be having no taxes. So come on in, just like our good friend Brad Kimes, who's hosting XRP Vegas, says, come on in, bring your business, bring your utility, bring your value, and we're going to let you flourish 100% tax exemption. So it's not just a matter of these other regions passing, crypto legislation, and we finally see Europe came together and passed MiCA. That's a good step forward, right, for the European Union. We see the UAE here doing this deal. It's not just legislation, it's tax exemptions, zero tax, tax-free. So it's a beautiful thing to see. Back into the United States, we have good guy Gary Gensler running the show and getting completely exposed on every level. Folks, take a look at this one from Ashley Prosper. She found a transcript from one of Gary Gensler's blockchain and money lectures at MIT. He is well aware of Ethereum's ICO and even knows how many purchasers there were. I'm more convinced now than I was before that he himself is a disguised ETH whale. Wow. Wouldn't that be something, folks? Now, I'm going to read out this. Gary also makes some interesting comments about the Bitcoin code and Satoshi Nakamoto. I'm going to read out these comments because he's really exposing Ethereum and why Ethereum is not the answer in the scalability issues. Gary Gensler says this. So Michelle will put her name on the board, anybody that wants to come. But this past week, we had somebody speaking about the scalability issues. And when his company did a $25 million initial coin offering, the day of the offering, which only had 40,000 to 50,000 purchasers. So 40,000 to 50,000 purchasers on that day, that means a smart contract had to be triggered numerous times that day, took over a third of the entire Ethereum network on that day. So Gary Gensler has the inside scoop on the Ethereum ICO clearly, talking about how many purchasers there were. Now remember the original deal. It was like one Bitcoin got you 1,000 ETH. That was like the early deal. Obviously, if you bought more, right, then you could be an anonymous purchaser as well. They did all sorts of deals. And what happened to the network? Gary says, and it's sluggish. And just to close and settle on its initial coin offering, it was saying, geez, that's not the scalability we want. So we know that's where we are today. Visa runs around 20,000 to 30,000 transactions a second. DTCC, which settles all the stock and equity trades here in the US, has to be available to transact at least 100,000 a second. Most seconds, it's 5,000 or 10,000, or some seconds, it's 30,000. But the Securities and Exchange Commission says no, you have to be rated for 4 times your average, roughly. So this gives you a sense of the scalability issues just in the current environment. I wonder if XRP has solved that scalability issue, right? And now, here we go. We're going to get the haters coming in, right? Talking about how XRP is not doing 1,500 TPS on the mainnet right now. Okay, I get it. Yes. More infrastructure is being built out, right? And more people are going to be coming to this as we get freed up from regulations, as we get level playing field and the rules of the road, and institutions can come in and build out the infrastructure and run a validator node on the XRP ledger and not have to get worried about getting their door busted in by 3-letter agencies and getting served a Wells notice. We are going to ramp up 20 to 30,000 transactions per second. Well, remember, though, that we're already doing hundreds of thousands of transactions per second on the private ledgers for central bank digital currencies. And there are some at Ripple and some of the developers who have said that we're going to be able to scale this thing up with side chains to easily doing tens of thousands of transactions per second. So if we want to be able to do the DTCC, which settles all the stock and equity trades here in the US, which is what some of the insiders said that XRP was actually for, was for the derivatives market. At least that's what Ripple's goal was to get XRP ready for, quote unquote, all the money, including the derivatives, right? The DTCC, which settles all the stock and equity trades here in the US, has to be available to transact 100,000 a second, okay? So we need that capabilities if we want to compare to the existing infrastructure that is now being used, right? The DTCC settling, what is it? It's like, are they selling hundreds of trillions of dollars per year, I believe? I got to pull up the numbers, but hundreds of trillions, if not quadrillion, they're getting settled. We know, we know the derivatives is valued over quadrillion. I mean, it's in the quadrillions, right? So we're talking about, 100,000 TPS per second and the type of liquidity in the trillions of dollars to compare. That's what Gary Gensler is saying, where we need to take crypto to. Well, maybe if Gary stopped serving everybody Wells notice and gave us the rules of the road, right? And Congress passed some legislation too, we would be able to start building out this infrastructure to take us there, which I believe that, Ripple's already working on scaling XRP up to that levels with side chains. Those capabilities will be there, and it's all coming. If you look at what we've done so far, it's just a drop in the bucket of the overall liquidity that we're going to be building out, and it will soon be settled on blockchain technology. So just remember that, right? We have a long ways to go, and we have good guy Gary Gensler, the cop on the beat here, serving it up and protecting American investors. Now let's check out his comments here, though, on Satoshi. What Madars is answering is there's something that's freely available, the Bitcoin Core Code. It's actually under a copyright license here at MIT, which makes it free. That was Satoshi Nakamoto's decision. It wasn't that, well, maybe Nakamoto does work here. Wow. Nakamoto works at MIT. Is that what good guy Gary's saying? Right? This rabbit hole goes deep, right? This rabbit hole goes deep. You are watching a show. I do believe that the United States is not going to get left behind with this technology, with understanding how to maintain a reserve currency status. You need real value. We need to have it on an immutable ledger, blockchain technology, right? That we can confirm who has the commodities, who has the value, right? We rein back in these derivatives markets. We rein back in all the leverage in the system. We write off our debt, write up our assets on our balance sheet. And that's how you solve a debt, currency, and a liquidity crisis. Obviously, Gary Gensler, from this transcript here from Ashley Prosper from MIT, clearly aware of the Ethereum ICO, how many people participated, the issues of the scalability of Ethereum, and then how many times did he mention XRP being that bridge currency and the utility there while at MIT, right? And then we talked about how Ripple actually funded $50 million for United States universities for blockchain research and, lecturing like Gary did at MIT. Helping foot Gary Gensler's fat check that he was receiving from MIT. Ripple funding, interesting enough. But we found this. This is an interesting one that came up today. I still don't really know, what's going on here. I'm looking for some of the smarter folks in the room in regards to the XRP ledger and the history of the XRPL to kind of, break down what's going on here. But this gentleman, Uptown Saul on Twitter, found this. Genesis account on the XRPL has just issued 2 assets. Take a look at this, folks. So we have the Chinese yuan and we have the US dollar. Now, it says right here that 1 trillion, what is that? 100,000, 100 million, 1 billion. 1 billion USD is issued and 10 million Chinese yuan issued. Okay. So, and this was issued by the Genesis account on the XRPL. That's what's very interesting to me. I don't know if this is David Schwartz, Arthur Brito, who's in control of this account. What's exactly going on here? I see we just got a new member in the Patreon group, Patrick McCoy, coming in to join the Discord group. Shout out, Patrick. Welcome to the group. Now, I'm going to follow up with you guys on this one to see what comes of this. But like I said, very interesting nonetheless here. Genesis account on the XRPL has just issued 2 assets, 100 billion USD and the 10 million Chinese yuan token, issued assets on the XRP ledger. So is someone trying to trial some stable coins? I don't know. Okay, but we're going to follow up on that. Okay. With that being said, folks, we just had a tremendous week that we watched the market pull back as we expected. We've been tapped in. If you're looking to get in touch and join our family in the community here, we're excited. We got a transfer of wealth underway that's going to take us to the promised land, God willing. And for those of you guys that are looking to get tapped in, it's just over at my website, okay? And like I said, part of the program here is not just waiting for XRP to moon. That's just one part of the transfer of wealth. So in the meantime, we're building our businesses. We're investing in real estate, precious metals, prepping, starting my garden here. I'm about to go take my daughter out. We're about to go play in the garden, make sure that gets going, okay? But then I'm super excited here. We're going to be connecting in XRP Vegas. If you guys missed the special announcement, Brad Kimes has asked me to moderate a panel, and I believe that I can announce who's on that panel now. Coach JV, and we have one other panelist who I believe is the XRPL domain services as well. So more on the way there, folks. If you're going to be in Vegas, hopefully we can meet, shake hands, and we're going to have a lot of fun connecting, and I'm super excited to reach out, connect with our Discord family. It's been 2 years now. So if you guys are looking to get tapped in, head on over there, and I will see you guys in the next one, okay? Thank you so much, guys. Enjoy your weekend. God bless all of you.